So, Doctor Who might be fine. Doctor Who might be about to regenerate into something bold, exciting, fresh, beautiful, weird, brilliant, and exactly what the show needs. Or we might all be sat here in 6 years wearing dust-covered Tom Baker scarves wondering, remember when we were supposed to get that Christmas special? And I don't know about you, but that is making me feel very normal. And by normal, I mean I have been emotionally pacing around my house like a Cyberman who has just discovered therapy. Because the BBC has just announced that Doctor Who is going out to competitive tender. The Christmas special is cancelled and Russell T Davies is stepping down. And we do not currently have a proper date for when Doctor Who is coming back. And as someone who loves the show with a frankly worrying amount of personality, I need to talk about it because I don't think Doctor Who is dead, but I am worried. Hello everyone, sorry I haven't been active recently. I've been working on a lot of things behind the scenes and I haven't been out of time to post, but I really felt the urge to talk about this matter for someone who loves Doctor Who. So I'm currently sitting in my summer house in a hoodie in boiling hot weather, sweating. So I'm not like a weirdo that's like got a sweating problem. I'm just a sweaty person in the heat wearing a hoodie. So, but I felt like I need to jump on camera and talk about this as soon as I could. Now, if you don't know, Doctor Who is not just a TV show to me. Doctor Who is part of my DNA. Christopher Eccleston was my first Doctor. David Tennant was my Doctor. And Billie Piper was my companion. Also, she was my first crush, which is a sentence I'm sure has appeared in at least 7 million British diaries. Doctor Who genuinely shaped me. The humour, the weirdness, the kindness, the running down corridors, the idea that being clever and strange and compassionate is actually powerful. That stuff mattered to me. So when I talk about this, I'm not coming at it as someone who wants to dance on the grave of the show. I don't want Doctor Who to fail. I don't want to be smug. I don't want to sit here like Davros on a podcast going, I told you so. I love this show. I watched it basically every day. Old episodes, new episodes, good episodes, questionable episodes, episodes where the budget is clearly 3 buttons, a crisp packet, and a dream. Especially those ones, actually. So, this is coming from love, but love does not mean pretending everything is fine. Sometimes love is saying, I adore you, but why have you put the sonic screwdriver in a microwave? So, what has actually happened? The BBC has announced the Doctor is going out to competitive tender this year. Now, that sounds very official, very corporate, very someone in a grey suit has used the word synergy and now a Sontaran is in charge of spreadsheets. But basically it means the BBC is opening the door for production companies to pitch for the next phase of Doctor Who. They've also announced that the previously planned Christmas episode is not happening. That's a big one because we thought we were getting a Christmas special. We thought, okay, even if the future is uncertain, at least we've got a festive little bridge, a mince pie with a sonic screwdriver in it, a nice Christmas Day panic attack. But no, that episode is gone. The BBC's explanation is basically that rather than doing a one-off special, to bridge the gap, they want to focus on long-term future of the show, which, to be fair, is the kind of thing you want to hear. Long-term future, lovely, great, fantastic. But also, when? Because this is the bit that worries me. You have not said Doctor Who will return in 2027. They have not said the series, whatever is coming in spring. They have not said, don't worry Chase, please stop stress eating Jamie Dodgers. We have a plan. They have said it will be announced in due course. And in due course is one of those phrases that can mean anything from next week to when the face of Bo finally tells us his skincare routine. That's where I'm at emotionally. I'm not panicking, I'm just hovering near panic. Like a weeping angel in customer service. So the big question is Doctor Who dead? No, I don't think so. Doctor Who has survived cancellation before. It has survived wilderness years. It has survived bad ratings, bad decisions, bad wigs, questionable CGI, and the occasional monster that looks like it was made by a kid watching Blue Peter. Doctor Who is bigger than one era. It's bigger than one showrunner. It's bigger than one doctor. That is literally the whole point of the show. It changes, it regenerates, it falls over, glows a bit, gets a new face, and starts shouting about teeth. So no, I don't think Doctor Who's dead. But I do think it is in a dangerous place. Because the question is not, can Doctor Who come back? Of course it can. The question is, how long will it take? Who will make it? And will the BBC actually give it the care it needs? Because there's a version of this where this is brilliant. There's a version where a new production team comes in full of younger creatives who grew up loving Doctor Who. People who know what made it special. People who understand modern TV but also understands that Doctor Who is not just any sci-fi franchise. It's not Star Wars, it's not Marvel, it's not prestige HBO space misery. It's Doctor Who. It's a mad little British fairy tale about a lonely alien in a police box who saves people with kindness, cleverness, and occasionally a massive button. And if the right people take over, this could be amazing. Fresh eyes, fresh energy, new writers, new directors, new monsters, new companions, a new doctor, a proper plan. And that excites me. But there's also the other version. The version where the tender takes ages, the decisions take ages, production takes ages, and suddenly we're looking at another huge gap. And I don't want that. I don't want Doctor Who to become something we talk about in the past tense again. I don't want new Doctor Who to become remember new Doctor Who, because I've seen this show disappear before in the history books. I don't want to be sat there explaining to someone, no, honestly, it used to be on all the time and sometimes bin bags had faces. Let's talk about Russell T Davies, because this is complicated. I love Russell T Davies. His first era, to me, peak television. That 2005 return with Christopher Eccleston, I mean, come on, that was magic coming from me. I brought Doctor Who back not as a museum piece, but as something alive, something funny, emotional, scary, romantic, camp, political, silly, heartbreaking, and very, very British. Then David Tennant came in and the show became this absolute cultural monster. Rose, Martha, Donna, Captain Jack, the Master, Wilf, the Daleks, the Cybermen, the Ood, the Face of Bo, also to Captain Jack. You know, it wasn't perfect, but my God, it had a soul. I was always grateful for RTD for that, and even if this new era with all these problems, he did some amazing things. He brought back David Tennant and Catherine Tate, which felt like being hugged by 2008. He gave us the Meep in live action, which is ridiculous and brilliant at the same time. He brought back Sutek, he brought back the Rani, he brought back Omega. Those are huge swings. Proper fan brain decisions. The kind of thing where you can tell there is genuinely love for the show. And I respect that, but I also think it is time. I think it's time for fresh eyes. That doesn't mean RTD failed. That doesn't mean we erase the good. That doesn't mean we turn into internet goblins screaming into the void because an episode made a choice we didn't like. It just means Doctor Who needs a new generation now. People who grew up with the revival. People who were kids when Eccleston said fantastic. People who cried when Tennant said, I don't want to go. People who watched Matt Smith eat fish fingers and custard and thought, yeah, this is art. People who love Doctor Who but aren't trying to recreate their own past. Because that's the danger with nostalgia. Nostalgia is lovely. I love nostalgia. I am basically 3 nostalgic references in a really hot hoodie. But Doctor Who cannot only look backwards. It has to move forwards. And that's what the TARDIS does. Ideally, unless the brakes are wrong, which apparently They always are, because the wheezing sound is actually a fault. And yes, I do know that, because I am unbearable. Now, I do want to be honest about the recent era, because I didn't hate it. I really didn't. I know some people talk like it was the worst thing ever made, like it personally came to their house and replaced all their biscuits with celery. It wasn't. It had good stuff in it. It had energy. It had moments. It looked incredible. Ncuti was a good Doctor. There were episodes and scenes and ideas that really, really worked. But was it the best Doctor Who has ever been? No. For me, no. And that's okay to say, because loving something does not mean you have to pretend. Every episode is the Satan Pit. Happy 20th anniversary, by the way. Day I'm filming this. Sometimes an episode is fine. Sometimes an episode is nearly great. Sometimes an episode is, I respect what you were doing, but I am now spiritually confused. Dear, I really am sweaty, aren't I? Oh dear. This isn't good. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Whew. Right, the Disney money was interesting as well. Personally, I didn't hate the Disney deal. I understood why it happened. Doctor Who needed a bigger global platform. Bigger money can do great things, but part of why I loved Doctor Who was always the slightly scrappy nature of it. The low budget charm, the feeling that someone built an alien planet using free lights, a quarry, and the sheer confidence of British theatre actors. That was part of the magic, coming from me. Doctor Who never needed to look like the most expensive show on earth. Sometimes Doctor Who is at its best when it looks like it might fall over, but the idea is so good that you don't care. The show is a mad little machine held together with imagination, and when it comes too polished, too shiny, too global franchise, I think it can lose some of that intimacy. I don't want Doctor Who to feel like content. I want it to feel like Doctor Who. And then there's the whole Doctor Who is too woke conversation. Doctor Who has always been woke. I'm sorry if that upsets anyone, but it has. The show has always been political. It's always been about outsiders. It has always been about compassion, anti-war messages, anti-authoritarian messages, accepting people who are different, challenging bigotry, challenging greed, challenging empire. Captain Jack was flirting with everyone in 2005 like pansexual chaos in a greatcoat. The Slovene literally farting politicians wearing human skin, and somehow that is still one of the most accurate things British television has ever produced. The Daleks are space fascists. The Cybermen are horror stories about losing humanity to systems that see people as upgrades. The Zygons gave us a whole speech about war, fear, radicalisation and empathy. Doctor Who has never been some apolitical little romp where a man in a scarf goes off and says, yes, no opinions here, just jelly babies. It has opinions. It should have opinions. That's one of the reasons why I love it. Now, does that mean every modern political or social message in Doctor Who lands perfectly? No, of course not. Sometimes the writing can be subtle and brilliant. Sometimes it can be about as subtle as a Jadoon parking a spaceship on your nan. But the problem is not Doctor Who being woke. The problem is whether the story is good. If the character is good, if the plot works, if the emotion lands, if the monster is scary, if the dialogue sings, audiences will go with you. Doctor Who can say big things, it always has, but first and foremost it has to be a good story. And that's the key. We also need to talk about the fandom, because I love Doctor Who fans, mostly. Doctor Who fans can be wonderful, creative, passionate, funny, deeply knowledgeable, terrifyingly good at remembering serial titles from 1974, but the toxicity, I hate it. I really do. Criticism is fine. Criticism is healthy. I am literally doing criticism right now in front of a camera like a man who has trapped himself in his own niche. But there is a difference between saying I don't think that episode works, and acting like a cast member personally destroyed your childhood. There is a difference between discussing ratings, writings, direction, production choices, and sending hate to actors. And I do wonder if the atmosphere around the show has contributed to where we are now. I don't want to state rumours as facts. I don't want to sit here pretending I know every conversation that happened behind closed doors. But if the rumours are true that people were hesitant to step into the role because of the backlash that comes with it, can you blame them? Well, okay, I am now in a different place for a couple of reasons. One, it got too hot in that summer house I was literally boarding, and two, my actual camera equipment couldn't survive. It literally overheated. I filmed the rest of this video and nothing happened. So let's get back to where we were. Imagine being offered the chance to play the Doctor, one of the greatest roles in British television, and then immediately realising that a chunk of the internet is already furious with you before you've even chosen your socks. This is not healthy, and it breaks my heart, because this is supposed to be a show about hope, about kindness, about being better. And yes, we can debate the show, we can criticise the show, we can say the finale did not land for me, or that the arc was messy, or why does that alien look like a damp lasagna? But the second it turns cruel, personal, or hateful, we've lost the plot. The Doctor would be disappointed, and not in a cool, dramatic way, in a quietly takes you aside and makes you feel like a disappointing sandwich kind of way. Now, Ncuti. I like Ncuti as a Doctor. I think he had charisma, I think he had warmth, I think he had the alien sparkle, and I think given more time, he could have become truly incredible in the role. There are reasons I've heard about why things happened the way they did, but I'm not going to go into that because some of it is private, and also I'm not trying to become the Gallifreyan Daily Mail. What I will say is I wish he had more time, because 2 seasons feels quick, especially when the Doctor is someone who needs time to settle, to grow, to get their defining stories. And then we got the regeneration, Billie Piper. As I said earlier, Billie Piper was my first crush and my companion. Rose Tyler was the companion for me. Seeing her come back made me ridiculously happy, like embarrassingly happy, like a grown man who has just made a noise only dogs and Doctor Who fans can hear, kind of happy. And I really hoped that maybe that was building to something for the 20th anniversary of the revival, you know, something with Billie, maybe David Tennant, something that honoured that era, something emotional and huge and weird. And now, well, I don't know, and that's the problem. We don't know. Was Billie Piper going to be the Doctor? Was she something else? Was it a trick, a manifestation, a mystery box, a big swing that now someone else has to pick up? I just hope they don't throw it away. Even if the new team wants a clean slate, I think they need to acknowledge it, because you cannot just end on something that massive and then come back years later and be like, anyway, here's a new hat. You have to deal with it. You don't necessarily have to make it the whole future of the show, but you have to respect the audience enough to answer the question, because Doctor Who fans can accept weird. We love weird. We watch a show where a potato soldier can be emotionally compelling, but we do need some follow through. So what do I actually want? I want Doctor Who to come back with fresh energy. I want a new showrunner who loves the show but is not afraid of it. I want writers who understand that Doctor Who can be silly and serious in the same episode. I want scary monsters. I want emotional companions. I want stories that children can enjoy and adults can obsess over. I want the TARDIS to feel magical again. I want the show to be brave, but I also want it to remember the basics. A great Doctor, a great companion, a strong emotional hook, a monster or concept that makes you go, oh, that's brilliant. Not every episode needs to break the canon. Not every finale needs to threaten all of reality. Sometimes the best Doctor Who story is just there's a strange thing happening in a small place and a doctor turns up. Give me that. Give me haunted houses in space. Give me evil robots in council estates. Give me historical episodes with teeth. Give me one really good corridor and an actor absolutely selling the end of the universe. And please, BBC, don't leave us waiting forever. That's my biggest fear. Not that Doctor Who won't come back, but that it will take years. And yes, Doctor Who has survived gaps before, but we live in a different media world now. Attention moves quickly. Audiences move on. Kids who might become fans need episodes to actually watch. You cannot secure the future of Doctor Who by letting it vanish for too long. The show needs momentum. It needs care. It needs belief. And maybe a budget that is big enough to make it work, but not so big that it forgets how charming a wobbly wall can be. What needs to happen in this time in between is for us to band together and keep Doctor Who alive. Make up your own stories, write screenplays, make audio dramas, make fanfics. Keep the Whoniverse from collapsing. I don't think Doctor Who is dead, but I do think it is regenerating. And regeneration is scary. That's the whole point. You don't know what you're gonna get next. You don't know if you're gonna wake up as David Tennant, Matt Smith, Jodie Whittaker, Ncuti Gatwa, or a confused man in a charity shop coat shouting about kidneys. But change is built into Doctor Who. That is why it survives. Russell T Davies leaving makes me sad, but I think it's right. The Christmas special being cancelled worries me, but if it means they are genuinely investing in a stronger future, then okay. The tender could be the beginning of something brilliant, or it could be the start of a very long wait, and that's where I am. Hopeful, worried, sad, excited, mildly dramatic, which, to be fair, is also how I feel when I can't find the TV remote. Doctor Who means more to me than I can properly explain without becoming unbearable, and I already am quite close to being unbearable. It made me who I am. It taught me that being strange was good, that kindness mattered, that monsters could be beaten, that running away could sometimes mean running towards something better. So I don't want this to be the end. I don't think it is the end, but I need the BBC to prove that. I need them to show us that this isn't Doctor Who quietly being put in a cupboard next to a canine prop and a cancelled spin-off. I need them to show us that the TARDIS really is coming back. Not eventually in some vague, in due course way, but with a plan, with a passion, with a future. Because Doctor Who can survive almost anything, but it needs people who believe in it. And despite all the arguments, all the criticism, all the chaos, I think the fans still believe in it. I know I do, so here's what I hope. I hope fresh voices take over. I hope they love the show. I hope they understand why it matters. I hope they don't throw away Ncuti's era. I hope they acknowledge Billie. I hope they remember that Doctor Who can be political, silly, scary, emotional, cheap, expensive, ridiculous, profound, and occasionally all of those things in the same scene. And most of all, I hope we're not waiting years to hear that sound again. Because when the TARDIS lands, properly lands, I want it to feel like coming home. And until then, I'll be here rewatching episodes, overthinking announcements, defending the Slovene more than any adult man reasonably should, and quietly begging the BBC, please, don't mess this up. Let me know what you think. Are you worried? Are you excited? Do you think Doctor Who needs a clean slate? Do you want Billie Piper's return explained? And who would you want to take over the show? Be nice in the comments. Be critical, be honest, be kind. I'll be doing some Doctor Who related videos throughout the year, so stay tuned. I'll be doing my bit to keep the universe alive. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.